we think that we sacrifice for what we love. That the secret, which is a terrible thing to say, but we often love because we sacrifice. So, for example, football is a bit rubbish, right? If it was soccer, as you call it here. So, it's just two people, it's a pile of people kicking a ball back and forth.
Right, yeah.
So what makes it valuable? Well, it's the amount of sacrifice that people give to it. So you sacrifice your time, you watch the sport, your father brought you to the game, whatever it is. So you sacrifice so much. And because of all the sacrifice, it makes it so valuable. So Liverpool won something big last week. I don't know what it is. And everybody who supported Liverpool went crazy because the first time they'd won it for 20 years or whatever. Yeah. And what was hilarious was going like, it's because you've sacrificed so much that this becomes massive. And that's why... people think, oh, I'm jealous because I love. But sometimes people love because they're jealous. They need, the more you sacrifice, the more you create the opposite. So the more sacrifice is involved, the more the thing becomes greater and greater and greater. And so it's the difference. It's different from the conscious logic. It's the unconscious logic. So that's happening with the coffee. You can't have it. And so the sacrifice, the inability to have it kind of makes it bigger and better. And By the way, I just remembered, I did an experiment when I was in my 20s and I lived in this kind of squat in Belfast. And I remember we were all hanging around and for a joke, we just got into a sport. I can't even remember what it's called. What's that one called where it's on ice and you shuffle? Curling. Yeah. So we got into curling and it was just a joke. So we sacrificed time to watch these curling and it's terrifying because
you start to get into it.
Yeah. And then about a month later, we're like, we're all into the teams and we're going to kill each other over which team's right. And it shows like what happened was curling looks ridiculous, but we just sacrificed and the sacrificing then generated it more. An
interest.
And then it kind of happened. So kind of at a contingent level, whatever your mum or dad bring you to as a sport, for example, that you see them sacrifice to whatever, can become this incredibly important thing. Yeah. That, by the way, is where I think the categorical imperative comes from. Is like that we so sacrifice that we end up loving things in this extreme way, which is beautiful. We kind of but lack and the things we value most are then intimately interconnected. Intimately interconnected. And this brings us back to why lack is that the not at oneness of the one. I keep coming back to this is why I'm not a New Age guy, is because they're all about the one. It's like there is a lack, and it's the lack that generates our desire and love and sacrifice and all of that. And they're intimately interconnected.
Yeah.